Good afternoon, Rowan. This morning I had set a video to premiere, a video I had made impulsively. Well, one day and a few revisions later, here are my more complete thoughts on the matter. Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite show, no questions asked, and I will hold this sentiment until I die. The problem is how the fandom characterizes the show. The fandom has this very rigid paradigm of what nation is based on what people, but I find this paradigm to be very, well, creatively bankrupt and sterile. I don't mind these comparisons being made as a springboard to learn about new cultures and people, but your primary source should be a primary source, not a children's fantasy show dedicated to telling a story and building a world rather than educating you. The problem I have with the idea that the Fire Nation is just Imperial Japan is that it does miss many of the nuances of Imperial Japan. And no, nuance is not a series of excuses for atrocities. I can't believe I had to bring this up, but well, I have to. Like I said in my casting controversy video, the Fire Nation is the Fire Nation. Its basis is a series of cultures blended together, but ultimately, they are the Fire Nation and they are what the story needs them to be. In the show, the Fire Nation was already a prosperous, at least according to Sozin, who could just be full of it, nation before the war, flat out saying, our nation is enjoying an unprecedented time of peace and wealth, our people are happy, and we're so fortunate in so many ways. I've been thinking, we should share this prosperity with the rest of the world. In our hands is the most successful empire in history. It's time we expanded it. But what we think about as the Empire of Japan does not have the same romantic picture as the Fire Nation. They overthrew the shogunate, they forced the samurai to submit, they were oddly a democracy for a while because their emperor was sickly, and then a series of convoluted political and military maneuvering and schemes, which led to their various bloody and horrific wars of conquest and imperialism. The point of uniting into this empire in the first place was out of fear. Commodore Perry showed them what the outsiders were capable of in the first place. The Iwakura mission showed them exactly what the outsiders were like, and they had to learn from them. And they saw what happened next door in China during the Opium Wars and the various unequal treaties they had to suffer. Japan also had to suffer from unequal treaties with Western powers as well. But the Japanese Empire lasted for 79 years. Society and culture shift in that time frame. So many policy changes, so many political wrestlings. After all, they went from empire to partially a democracy to a militaristic dictatorship. And, well, a lot of reasons could be given for how they acted over the course of those 79 years. Was it the exposure to European imperialism and their attitudes towards race, the desire for resources to fuel this industrial economy they had to build up in order to compete with Western powers? Was it a general sense of chauvinism, an obsession with competition, or just the kitchen sink? History is complicated. That could all be true, and that could all not be true at the same time. The difference between reality and fiction? Fiction has to make sense. Fiction is a springboard to learn about other cultures and histories. It is not a substitute for proper research. And if you want proper research, please go to your library in order to get some. Well, goodbye, Rowan. I hope this has been more helpful than the first time around.